Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. It's an exciting week as our team in Miami get together here this weekend. So it's just exciting with the tradition and history of the programs, and we recognize it, of course, going down to Miami as a big challenge, a team that really through 3 games I know didn't play as well or in the Virginia Tech game, but we look at the entire body of work and what they've done this year, and they've been very impressive, a very difficult schedule, and they've handled it really quite well, especially, of course, with great wins in their first 2 games and going to Florida State and winning. So we've got to be at our best here going down there this week. And, to meet that challenge. I think Randy Shannon and his staff continue to really build that program. They're doing a great job. When I watch them, you see explosive and talented players really across the board in all phases of the game. And, so, again, we've got to meet that challenge with hopefully explosive plays and players on our side. Our players yesterday, having the weekend off, I think really was a positive. I just noticed a lot more excitement and spring in their step yesterday. Monday's practice of just being a little more rested, and they realized the challenge ahead of them here this week, and they had a really strong and good practice yesterday. And I guess the big question to everyone wants to know is Sam Bradford's status, and as I said yesterday, I'd love to give you an answer so I don't have to answer it the entire week, but it's too early to give the answer just because it's still too early in the week. And I'm not able to give the answer yet just because until we see what Sam's capable of throughout the week. Is he able to make all the throws? Is he able to do it without too much soreness? How does he react the next day? All of those things just need to be determined, and they won't be determined until we get later in the week. Probably sometime Thursday or Friday, and maybe Saturday, just again depending on how it goes. I will say to this point, everything that he has done last week and this week as we have progressed, he has handled well. He has not had any setbacks, and so that's positive in that he is everything that to this point that he has been going through and has done. He has handled in a positive way, and he has made daily progress. So that part, is encouraging and positive. But again, it's just too early to determine his status for Saturday. Whether the other part of that is that we still are very confident and excited about what Landry Jones has been able to do to this point in the year. And handling, in particular, the last 2 games. He continues to just be more and more comfortable behind there and has executed and handled himself incredibly well. And so that gives you a good feeling, regardless of Sam's situation, that you still feel like we're in good hands, in the quarterback position. So outside of that, everybody else is in good shape and excited for the week.
Did you ever think of not letting Miami know what's going on?
Al's back, so no, because I don't see that. They've watched us the last 2 weeks without Sam, and in the end, we're not a different offense. I think you have an advantage of whether a guy plays or not if you've got a different style of offense with one guy, and then if you bring in somebody else, you're a totally different style of player. So. In the end, I don't see that being a big deal. So no, that's not something that really, I'm worried about trying to hide. And I guess the other thing everyone probably knows by now is they're going to replace the entire field there at the stadium. So that's not an issue with the dirt that everybody was so concerned about.
Coach, have you ruled out using both quarterbacks?
You're asking me something that I don't know yet. So I haven't ruled anything out. So everything's still in play.
Miami offensively, they obviously have great team speed. Is there a primary, are they approach that more of a passing team than a rushing team, or do they the rest of the football pretty well too.
No, they run the football very well. Got excellent backs and physical players up front, but then they do an excellent job throwing it, which everyone has talked about. Ja'Cory Harris all, here through the, and rightfully so. I think he's done a great job, and he's an excellent player. So they do a nice job with both.
Bob, in a game like this, the way that Miami played the first two games offensively, is there, I don't know, some anticipation or anxiousness on your part to see how your defense will play against a team that's as explosive as they did?
Sure, it's exciting. It's a major challenge, to handle it, to go up against, a team that, as you said, in the first couple of games, this really was very explosive and productive. And I think it's fair to say their situation and the circumstances in the Virginia Tech game are difficult to handle. They played in a monsoon, basically, so it was, and that changes things. But so it is a challenge.
I know you'd like to have your loss back, but that aside, is this team ascending about as well game to game as you could hope for? Is it on the right track?
Well, but it's only a couple of games, so it's still very early in the season. For me to say that, but the last couple of games we've handled them well, but it's only a couple of games, and again, we understand that the competition is going to get harder and harder.
Bob, do players want to know who the quarterback is? And I don't mean coming up and asking you, but I mean in general, football teams want to know who's going to quarterback them on Saturday or Sunday?
Well, I think there's more made of it in the media than the players. And I would want to know if I'm a player if we're running more of the wildcat stuff and quarterback run game with one guy, or are we going to be protecting more and throwing it more with this guy? Then I think you have some issues to work through. But if you're calling the same plays and executing the same way, then I don't see it really as an issue. And in particular in our situation where if Sam's able to play, great. If he's not able to play, it's not his fault. He's injured. We're okay. We go with what we've been doing. And in the end, they understand it. It's a situation that they can't control.
This team relies so much on him for leadership, though. Has that been missing at all in the previous 2 weeks? Previous 2 games?
Well, I don't want to downplay and say Sam is important, but he still has provided leadership. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's still in the locker room. He's still in the huddle. He's still talking to everybody. And but obviously when you're the guy doing it, there's, it helps, when you're in the huddle all the time. But again, I haven't felt in the last couple of games that we've missed it because the other guys have picked it up and have handled their self, we got a lot of guys, I think, in that huddle that can be leaders. And so we've overcome it. I don't want to say that we don't miss them, but I think the guys have gotten a lot of confidence in Landry on how he's handled himself.
Bob, obviously, Sam would have to take a lot of snaps in practice for you and him to feel comfortable about it. Landry, is he getting less snaps, or is it the same that it was most of last week?
I'm not going to detail the number of snaps for each of them. They're each getting enough where we feel comfortable they'll be ready to play. To sit here and say he got, 70% of them, he got 30, it's just not, I'm not going to get into that, but we snap the ball enough from now till Saturday that we'll feel good with whoever's back there.
You said that every day Sam would know more after he throws the next day with pain or anything. He did more yesterday. How did he feel this morning?
I guess part of what I said was just that he has handled it well. He felt, like he has the other days, that nothing has set him back. He handled it well, and no different than any other day to this point. So that's kind of what I was intimating at earlier, that he continues, and that meant this morning as well to have daily progress. So, and that was encouraging because we did give him more yesterday.
Bob, as a defensive coach, when you're preparing for a team that's got uncertainty at quarterback, you don't know if this guy's going to play or that guy, even if they're sort of similar. Do you do anything different as a defensive coach preparing, or do you just figure, well, they're going to run the same plays?
Sure. We, again, in our situation, or if whoever we're facing, they've got 2 games where the guys just played. So it's to me, teams usually don't come up with a whole new system the week you're going to play them. So, sure, I as a defensive coach, I wouldn't, unless, as I said a number of times, unless their styles are totally different in that one's more of a runner and one's more of a pocket thrower. If they're similar in styles, no, we would prepare just the same.
When's the last time you played a team that weren't sure who my quarterback was? It Texas when they had Chance Mock and Vince Young and they were playing both of them some?
Could be. They had when they had Vince Young and Major Applewhite, right?
I think it was
Chris Sims and.
I think it was Chance Mock and Vince Young.
Yeah, you guys have to go back and research it. I don't know. But again, I think it's just. Again, I don't see their styles all that different. Where in our situation, where it's that big a deal.
This is going to sound like to you, it's going to sound like a rudimentary question, but I just don't know the answer. Can you talk about how preparation for a non-conference game on the road against a team like this differs from preparation for a bowl game? Because a bowl game, you're working on freshmen and guys are taking tests, and it's just such a different deal.
Yeah, I don't see any parallel there. If you want to say a road game in conference, I would say this is very similar to playing a road game in your conference, because you're playing week to week and you're going down to play a tough team. So your question, I don't know. I can't answer that because I don't see any parallel.
Because you don't play this team all the time. Is there a lack of familiarity that you would have with, say, Texas A&M, Oklahoma State?
I don't know. Maybe to a degree. You did play them 2 years ago. There's some of the same players are there. Anymore we get so much tape and we get everything that they've played to watch that you do feel familiar with them. Again, I don't see it that way. I see it as another kind of conference game on the road.